AC signals.
Now let's talk about AC signals. Okay. So AC signals basically looks like a standard sine wave. That's a standard AC signals. We're going to do that in detail in semester 2, but now just learn some basics. So for sine wave, okay, for AC signals, normally what we have is we have something called the period. The period is measured in seconds. It's basically a time. So what's happened is it's the time of a complete cycle of uh, yep, of the signal. Okay, if you look at a standard AC signal, it's a sine wave. The wave goes up and goes down. It repeated in cycle. So each cycle, the time of each cycle is measured as the period. Okay, so we call that the period. Now, another important property is called the amplitude, which is the height of the wave. Okay? So in reality, okay, so yep. So the amplitude in electricity, okay, is measured in voltage. However, in reality, if I have a high amplitude, okay, it means high volume. So I'll give you an example. Sound travels as a wave. Okay? It has a period, also it has an amplitude. So if I speak louder, if I speak really loud, if I increase the volume, means the amplitude has increased. Okay? So in the case of electricity, if the voltage is higher, it means the voltage has a high amplitude. The voltage, the amplitude will be higher. Okay? Yep. Now, okay, we talked about period, we talked about amplitude. Now there's one more thing I need to talk about, which is frequency. So frequency is related to period. It means basically it's another word. It's another way to indicate period. It means how many cycles in 1 second. Okay. In 1 second. Okay. And we call that frequency. It's measured in hertz. Okay. So 1 hertz means 1 cycle every minute. I give you an example. Say if for this basic standard AC signal, okay, so if the period, the time for 1 cycle is say 0.1 seconds. Okay, so in 1 second, then I have 0.2 here, I have 0.3 here, okay, and it keeps going. So for 1 second, there is going to be 10 cycle. So we call that, we call this 10 hertz. Okay, for every 1 second, there's 10 cycle of wave, and we call that 10 hertz. Okay, so in this chapter, we're not going to do much about frequency, but just be aware of it. So what I showed you here is a standard AC signal. In reality, most of electronic signals, they're not standard. I gave you an example. Say if you go to your textbook, page 137, okay, if you have a look at this diagram on your textbook, when I'm talking through a microphone, the microphone converts my sound, the sound to electrical signals, which looks like this here. Okay. It varies up and down, it looks like that. And then the signal is transferred through wire or through wireless in those days. Then it reaches an amplifier. Okay. What's happened with the amplifier is the amplifier then enlarge the signal. Okay. So what we're going to do this week is we're going to study the amplifier. Now, since this process is quite important, so just let me go through that again in detail. Um, so, well, it's going to be it's going to be in the final exam. You need to understand how this process goes. So, when I talk to your microphone, the microphone convert the sound to an electrical signal. Now, then the electrical signal traveled through wire or internet and they reach an amplifier. An amplifier basically is in your speaker. Okay. So what does it do is it amplifies the signal and then the speaker is going to be able to broadcast it. Okay. Here is a little sample of the amplifier and now we're going to learn how do we use it and how does it work.